Let's talk material today. It's material designed by Google, presented to you by Let's Nurture. Google has combined technology and science when it comes to material design. They came out with this wonderful visual language to express your content to the user. Does one size fit all for material design? The answer is yes. It responds to the various different platforms and different resolution. You can even make material design for your TV apps also. For mobile device, as we all know, touch and the voice are the option and it responds to both. What is material? Material is this new wonderful visual language provided by Google for designing great looking apps when it comes to mobile or web. Material has got right mix of light, surface and movement. For material, everything should be bigger, bolder, brighter and vibrant. Make sure the images go from edge to edge and use every pixel that is available out there on your screen. The fonts must be big and clear. The motions must be meaningful and add sense to the entire user experience. It should provide feedback to the user in terms of where he is and how he is interacting with the application. Who would not like to enter into the 3D world? 3D adds great new dimension. And here in material design is that Z axis that adds the zing. Even 1 dp size or the thickness adds a whole new level of user interaction. Make sure you're using lights as and when required and to add some value to the whole UI and UX. Shadows can be unidirectional or it can be multidirectional depending on the kind of light you are using. Material is solid, so it cannot cross across multiple sizes and shapes of different elements. Material can grow and shrink depending on the requirement. Material can move anywhere. It can move in x axis, it can go in y axis, and it can go in z axis when user interacts with the material. Why elevation? Because it adds a new dimension to the entire experience. So what Google recommends is if you have multiple components sitting on the top of each other, you must use different elevation level. Example being you have table showing context. On the top you have a floating action button and the left side you might have a button which tells me about total number of contacts. So all these three elements must be on different elevation level. Google has recommended elevation level starting from 1 up to 24 for various different screen elements. Use shadow whenever it is required. Shadow can grow or it can shrink. As we know, UI elements goes through multiple statuses. It can be resting, it can be pressed by the user, it is raised, and the screen is going through some kind of scrolling. With touch ripple effect, you can tell the user where the user is and when he is touching any element. Material elements should use fade in and fade out or on and off entry or exit to add more meaning to the entire presentation of data. You can use incoming transition when you are loading data. You can use outgoing transition when the element is no longer used. Keep your transitions as consistent as possible and do not overlap movement of elements. In order to make your application beautiful and picturesque, you need to use animations. People love animations when they add some value to the entire user experience. Here, in case of material design, the color must be bold, bright, and right at the same time. You can make it go transparent or translucent depending on the use. So here what we are trying to show is how to use accent colors. The between has different color. It takes your attention right away. When it comes to theme, people love to change themes on daily basis. Some people love light, some people love dark. Let user decide, as user is everything. So everything starts with that icon which we see on the screen, and that is the entry point to the world of your application. So make sure you design it right and you design it great in the very first attempt. Immersive experience. People would love to dive into your application if it really provides great experience. Use natural images and do not use stock images. You must have a style when it comes to telling a story to the user, because the content of your app is just not any dead text. It has to have some kind of meaning, it has to be opaque, it has to be transparent, but as and when required. For the fonts, you have great selection here to make. When it comes to English or English like language, use Roberto, and when it comes to non-English foreign languages, use NATO. Never say never. As they say, never say never. It applies to apps also. Be humble and genuine when you are working with the user. These are the common sets of elements when it comes to material design. It's floating, it's drop down, it's bottom sheets, it's card, it's chips, and everything in between. There are use and means to use all this in more precise manner. User would love to play with your app, but make sure user doesn't get lost. When there are no data, display a meaningful message, display some kind of interesting images, and let user know what he is supposed to do next. Even when you are displaying error messages, be as friendly as possible. With Fingerprint UI, things have changed. Now you can make sure the user is having the right credential and make his or her data as private as possible. For everything material, please visit our website www.letsnurture.com.